Hi, everybody. There were a lot of comments on the post about touch and how to set boundaries with kids when we are not feeling it. And I wanted to address this because it's something that comes up all of the time. And there seems to be a common mismatch in kids that seek sensory input, or we would say tactile proprioceptive experience. So the body awareness and input that they're getting through being close to somebody and the feedback they're getting to their body that is organizing or regulating through that body or touch input. So it is very regulating or organizing or calming to many kids. So for kids that will continue to test boundaries, whether they are truly needing a sensory need or they're trying to figure out our emotion and what that means in the moment. So what this often looks like is we are trying to be this calm, cool, collected person. However, they are we're not into the touch. So we have this internal angst or internal tension that is going on. So something in our body or our nervous system is saying that we feel unsafe or we feel threatened. And this is a very real sensation that we need to continue to explore and regulate on our own, because otherwise kids will keep on keeping on and they will continue to really want to bulldoze over that boundary because they are noticing that, huh, my parent has something going on under the surface, but I'm not sure what it is. So I'm going to keep poking and pushing and trying to figure it out until they regulate their emotion in a way that their internal experience matches their outward or external appearance. So until then, until we have a match, they will likely continue to try to explore and want to test limits and push boundaries and want to get to that true connection of our authenticity. Because what we are doing when we are showing that mismatch is that we aren't connecting with our authenticity or our true emotion within, and we're trying to cover it up and mask it without organizing and regulating it from the root. So it's confusing to kids, and they are wired to connect with us. So they're wired to keep trying. They are wired to push these boundaries and these limits. And until we have a regulated, available way of being there and supporting them. So this is a really common theme that I see is one, the mismatch in the level of touch. So maybe a child is under responsive to touch or proprioceptive input, meaning they need lots and lots of that type of input or feedback to their body in order to feel it, and that feels organizing to them. And the adult is over responsive or kind of sensitive to this touch input, especially under stress. So when we are under stress, we are more extreme in our sensory preferences. So maybe when we're stressed or we're triggered, we tend to react and have a bigger perceived sense of threat in the moment. So there's, again, this mismatch in the profiles between the two. And then two would be that kids have this innate desire or drive to explore and get to that authentic emotion within us. So they are trying to figure out what emotion means. And through us, we are modeling what emotion means and what our behavior means related to that emotion that we're experiencing. So they are, again, it is their job to mirror back to us what we are feeling. So if we have this stress or if we have this uncertainty within us, they are wired and driven to figure that out. And they may be questioning if our reactions will be different at different times of the day or different times of the week or different experiences that are happening. They're wondering, well, will mom or dad or my nanny be triggered by this on Friday afternoon? Or what about in the morning? Let's try and see if they're triggered by this if I try to grab onto their leg or hug them right now. Or what types of the day or what different experiences can they gain triggers from us or emotional responses from us if they'll try to figure it out. So that would be number two, is that kids are wired to figure it out. So until we are able to organize and be there for our own emotion in a way that our outward behavior comes off as clear and comes off as truly compassionate. So maybe we're setting a boundary, but maybe it comes off a little bit edgy. Like, yeah, I'm super irritated right now. Please get the heck off my leg. Or is it coming off like the child is bad or the child is doing something wrong in some way? And are we unintentionally shaming that child in the moment by saying, if you just get off my leg, then everything would be good to go. So, how are we unintentionally shaming in the moment? How are we unintentionally showing emotion or edginess toward them that they are trying to figure out why? And how can we organize our own emotional experience in a way that we come off as truly compassionate, truly clear, calm in the moment, enough that our emotion is our emotion and we can vocalize that? So maybe we say, you know what, I just said that a little bit more harshly than I meant to because I am tired right now, or I'm really kind of stressed about getting this work done. It has nothing to do with you, but I do need to get it done. I can't wait to connect later. I can't wait until we can sit on the couch and be next to each other, or maybe there's an interactive game that we play, or some intentional emotional language around the child's just clarifying to the child that it doesn't have to do with that they are bad or something is wrong with them. It's that, yes, we do enjoy who that child is, just in the moment we have our own stuff going on that we are working through. So how can we model this process and explain our internal experience in a way that doesn't feel like we are dumping on them or venting to them? And how can we come off as that bigger, wiser, kinder adult that they need in their lives in that moment? So, some things that will play into the complexity of touch are, one, again, this profile differentiation. So, what are our needs in the moment versus what are the child's? And how can we explore where our views on touch came from? So, for some of us, maybe our boundaries were consistently violated as a child. So, if you express needs or wants or emotion, maybe that was met with a very rigid boundary or rejection or ignoring, or something that told us that human connection at times is not safe, and that it can be triggering for us, or it can evoke an emotional response if we have a child that is really expressive with showing their needs, because that is something we disowned a long time ago, is those needs. And it will come off as emotional to us in the moment, almost as if it's like an emotional flashback. So, questions that we can ask ourselves is, what did touch mean growing up in your family? And what is that indicating in the moment? So, are we feeling unsafe in the moment? And how can we check the validity of that? The truth is that kids cannot truly hurt us in ways that are going to send us to the hospital. It's just very unlikely that that would happen. So how can we help ourselves feel safe in the moment, even if we're getting bumps or bruise or something like that? The idea is that we need to regulate our own emotions around this before we can be available for them and guide their behavior in ways that feels really effective for everybody, versus going to this control. So when we feel fearful or stressed in the moment, we tend to go to control. So instead of being there for our own emotion, we tend to control the child and their behavior. So yes, we want to be that bigger, wiser, kinder, stronger adult and be able to guide their behavior and co-regulate in the moment and be available. However, we want to first be aware of our experience and how we can be there for whatever emotion is arising. So, is there fear, sadness, shame, guilt that is triggered in the moment? And is that causing us to just want to shut down the child no matter what, because we need to get back to that level of safety on our own? So, good, bad, right, or wrong, how helpful is it in the moment to control the child, and where are our blocks, or where are we stuck that this may continue to be a challenge? So there's so much complexity in how our past experiences show up in our ability to set healthy, warm, compassionate, very clear boundaries and use emotional language that feels truthful and authentic in that moment. So number two would be the internal tension or the lack of clarity. So as mentioned, how much compassion can we have for what is going on inside of us, and how available are we to observe and truly recognize what that is in the moment? So if we aren't aware of it, then it sets up this consistent discord, and the child will really feel that because they are little mirrors that understand what sensations are and they pick up on this. So there's Stuart Shanker and Self-Ride has lots of research on the interbrain and how our brains are truly connected. So this is why in the moment where you feel stressed and tired and exhausted and irritated, that maybe kids are at their most testing or most pushing of limits or boundaries because they sense this tension or this stress and they're trying to figure out, is it because of me? Is it because of I'm bad or I'm doing something wrong? Or, oh, this is interesting that my caregiver has this high tension emotional experience. And what can I learn from this? Or how does my behavior impact the reaction? So they're learning a lot about cause effect. They're learning a lot about the emotional regulation. And they're learning a lot about that inherent discord that we have within us and our ability to show our internal state and our outward behavior, because so many of us are so far connected from that. So it makes sense that we would have a lot of difficulty matching our internal experience to our outward thoughts, behaviors, and actions because we have so much experience just shutting it all down in attempt to be a nice, kind, sweet human in the world, and that good girl or good boy that we grew up trying to be. So number 3 that plays into complexity is, again, that kids are wired to continue and push and test limits and fulfill this inner drive to connect and get to those authentic emotions within us. So thinking about where are our blocks and how are we triggered, or where are we having emotional responses with the child's behavior, and where are they sensing that tension is highest, because that's really nice insight into things that we need to access or we need to heal or attend to or create space for in that moment. So I believe that is all. I'm rooting for you all in this complex process. Please comment with questions or feedback or insights or things that have worked for you. I think it would really benefit the community. And even the smallest shifts can go a long way. So if you are watching this thinking you have so far to go, or you're feeling defensive in some way or feeling criticized in some way, that is rich information, and I want to honor that you are willing to be here and dive into this, because that's such a huge step in the process. And this is a journey that can take a long time. So baby steps and celebrating those and celebrating awareness, celebrating increasing shifts and little things here and there can go a long way. So that is it for today on how kids will continue to push and push and push and test those boundaries, especially when we have this high tension emotional experience going on within us, and why that may be the case developmentally. Power to you all for doing this work, and until next time.